This is Doe for Life from the Hype Review podcast. I am with a good friend, a good business person, and an all-around good person, Damon A., owner of, and I know it, so don't tell me, photography studio services.
Frame Features.
That's the name of the business?
Yeah.
I didn't know that, so I would not have thought that up. So thank you for giving me that one. The owner operator of Framed Features. If you haven't or are not familiar with her work, if you go back to any of the headshots that I did before I released my album White Rose, that was all done by this amazing lady. So without further ado, I've done my butchered introduction. I'm going to let her introduce herself now.
All right. I guess you forced me to talk into the camera.
Strategically placed.
All right. Well, my name is Damon A., as Rob said, and I am the owner of Frame Features. And it is a portrait photography business that I have started literally like last year is where I really started driving it in. But yeah, I do portraits, hopefully trying to transition a little bit into fashion and beauty photography.
Nice. And I think you do amazing portraits and like, especially like people. I think they look really good. So definitely if you're looking for some headshots, that's the way to go. First question, because I'm going to get right into it. I want you to be comfortable. This should be easy. I'm going to softball you. Like,
Okay.
What was the turning moment where you're like, I think this is something I want to do? And what was like the original seed to say photography, headshots, this way? Because you could do it a lot of different ways,
Yeah. I don't know what part of that was softball, by the way. It was honestly where it really started was when me and my family, we've been traveling a lot back and forth through the country. And I remember distinctly, we were in Philly and we were on a waterfront in Philly. And I was just snapping photos of my husband and son. And I thought they were the cutest things. Like, I'm just like not posing, right? I'm just snapping away. And so originally I wanted to do lifestyle photography because it's just honest. That's really why. And then as time was going, I kind of didn't really do photography. I wasn't on it like I was originally. But I will say prior to that, what even got a camera in my hand was because I had a bow tie business. That bow tie business. Now, I wasn't good at marketing at all, so that didn't succeed.
It'd be like that sometimes.
Yes, you gotta learn, you gotta fall down. But that's what got the camera in my hands because I was a new business owner and I needed to go.
It's like product shots.
Yeah.
Like, hey, like we finna take some pictures.
Exactly.
No, like me and you.
And I did pay a few people to do it, right? But it starts adding up when you haven't made no money.
You're not bringing it back in,
exactly.
Right?
So I was like, okay, I'm gonna just buy one cheap, used, and snap my own photo. Well, that didn't work because, again, marketing was not my strong suit, so it kind of didn't go nowhere. But fast forwarding past like my husband and my son that I would take photos of, just a few years ago, I was like, you know what, I got a skill. I don't want to work a 9 to 5.
Right.
It's just, I want to spend time with my family. I want to spend time with my son. I want to be there more for him. So I said to myself, let's actually use the skill that you accidentally developed.
Figured out that you had, right? Yes.
Then,
I can do this.
Exactly. My editing wasn't great.
Right.
As I took some of your photos and I looked back at them and I was like, oh, that's some horrible editing right there.
I didn't know that.
No.
They looked amazing to me. They still look good to me.
Well, thank you.
And I don't even like taking photos.
I was like, So that's why I want to redo a photo of you because I was like, oh, I could do.
We could do it. I'm available.
Yes, we need to.
Eventually.
Yeah, we need to get it done. Be more,
Because I'm like, I'm gonna be about it right now, and then like I'm not gonna be around you, and I'm like, I don't want to take any pictures. Like, like I have to like get myself out of that because I'm like, I hate taking pictures.
I'm the same. I force myself.
I hate it.
I don't. I wouldn't.
No, and I know I need updated headshots. Like I've used the ones that I have to their maximum.
Yep, it's time.
Yeah,
it's time. You're a whole new businessman, by the way.
Whole new business
yeah,
person,
you
right?
need that updated business.
It's a lot happening. It's a lot happening.
So, but yeah, ultimately, a few years ago, I was just like, gotta do this. So since then, I've been narrowing in my editing style and
the back end, like not just the raw photos, but how do I like to change them? What do I
how do I want to pose them? What is my voice? What do I see when I want to photograph somebody?
Yeah.
So it's geared more towards a portrait editorial vibe, right? But I want to keep it real to that person. So, if you tell me you lay back, well, I'm going to make sure your poses are more laid back. I'm not going to give you this super rah-rah if you're not super rah-rah, right?
Right.
So.
Or if that's not what you're looking for.
Exactly.
And I think a lot of that speaks to, well, I have a question, right? Would you say you overestimated, underestimated, or perfectly estimated, like the amount of work you were going to have to do when you kind of, okay, I'm going to do photography. Like, this is what I'm going to do.
I think that's a good one, actually. The amount of work, I will say I maybe underestimated myself on how far I could
go.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Okay.
Because
that's a good one.
I knew that I haven't done photography like that.
Right.
And I also knew editing makes a huge difference.
Right.
Whether or not someone's like, oh, yeah, I like this photo,
Right.
So I think I underestimated my capabilities, but I already knew, so I couldn't overestimate it because I already knew it would be harder for me.
Right. So you underestimated your own ability as far as like how good you could get.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Which I think most people do both. They underestimate, one, how good they can be, and they, two, underestimate the amount of work it's going to take. Yes. Like every profession, not just photography, not just music, or every profession has a lot of like tiny intricacies that the better you get at them, the more intentional you can be about how you help your client, right? Because this is a tool to get them whatever they want, right? So the poses, the editing, the camera choice, the lens, there's so many, all these different choices. And until you get acquainted with what each one of these do, you don't know how to properly wield your toolbox, right? Sure. So it's like when you go into a profession, you might think like, oh yeah, no, it does look easy because this person has been doing it for 20 years or 15 years or 5 years or 5 months, longer than you've been doing
it. Exactly.
So whatever that gap was, you're like, most people underestimate that gap. Like, when is it going to look easy for me? So easy that people think this is easy.
Exactly. Or they think I've been doing it forever, right? Like, that's where it gets tough because I don't think as an artist on any format, right? Like, we don't ever feel that we even get that, good.
Right,
We're always
right.
thinking, I gotta do more. And I remember...
Which is a gift and a curse.
It's true, yes. Because you always want to improve your craft. But I remember I just always thought more on the negative side. Like, oh, maybe I'm not booking on one because I'm not photographing correctly. Maybe my photos aren't showing people like, oh wow, I want to book her.
Right.
And
okay.
It wasn't like, honestly, my husband brought it to my attention, right? He's like, no, you're actually really good. Like, you're good at it.
You're just talking to the wrong people.
Exactly. Just talking to the wrong people. And he actually pushed me to work with models, so that's been fun and new. And I was like, oh my God, I've worked with my first model, and I'm gonna give her a shout out. Her name's Tanea. She's
nice. Shout out to Tanea.
She is so dope to work with. And she was my first model that I ever reached out to and was like, hey, can we like work together? And she was so down. And I was like, wow, amazing. Like, this was, I won't say it's easy because you still got to direct them.
Yeah.
But it's less direction because you could give them that concept, right? And because they're models, they're familiar.
They're used to working with that,
yes.
right? And kind of taking that direction and being able to
Put
give you something back,
in
right?
those own positions
Yeah.
too, where I don't necessarily have to, as someone who doesn't photograph, not
Right.
a model, I'm gonna have to actually now be a posing director at the end of the day.
Right.
So it's a different experience.
Yeah.
But I still like both.
And understanding the customer levels, like level of education, right? Like a model is going to be much more versed at taking pictures than, Joe Schmo coming on and like, hey, I want to do some, family photos or something. Yeah. The posing is going to be different. Everything, the feel of it's going to be different.
Exactly.
It's because they're different levels of education, right? Or just experience with your craft.
Yeah, or
right?
a camera in their face. Because that.
How comfortable are you with that? Yeah, exactly. And I think understanding and getting to those granular details, right, is what makes you the difference between like, oh, I do decent and I do amazing, right? How well do I understand my customer? How important do you think it is that you took that step to broaden your customer base to something outside of what you originally thought you might want to service?
Very, very important, because you don't know what you don't know. And you could be amazing at something that you never thought to try, but you wouldn't know that. And then you're stuck in trying to develop a skill or a talent in something that maybe you're just kind of mediocre in.
Right.
Maybe that's just not it for you for whatever reason. It's not like a personal thing or a horrible thing. It's just maybe you have to open your Yes, you got to broaden your
horizons, yes. Right? And a lot, just a selfish tie in Hyperview, right? Like it's about expanding your perspectives, broadening your horizons so that you can understand and see, right? If this other person did it, this other person can get through X, Y, and Z turmoil, right? Why can't I do it?
Exactly.
And if a lot of times when you're in it, it seems like it's insurmountable. But if I can see that, okay, somebody else had that same kind of thing that I thought was insurmountable that I'm in right now, but they got through it, right? That kind of helps. So understanding in context, right? Who is your customer and being hyper-focused on what their problem is and how you can solve it, right? Yeah. Because sometimes we think this market needs this. And as much as we know that, unless they want it, it doesn't matter. Exactly. Because the people you were working with needed your services. They didn't value it as much as the models do.
Exactly. They don't maybe even see that themselves deserve it, or, like it's just not an immediate problem right now. And the crazy thing is, as I was thinking about this recently with photography, it's not an immediate need necessarily.
Yeah.
It's a very much a future investment when you think about it.
Yeah.
It's like people don't think about how important photos are until someone passes away. Or until you yourself get older, or if you have children or a spouse, right? Like these
the moment has fleeted.
That people are realizing, like, oh, I don't have photos, or the people who invested start looking at their photos, right? They get to go back down memory lane.
Right.
And the best thing about photos is somehow in our brain, it connects. Like we could look at a photo and connect memories that we forgot exist.
Right. You can remember kind of what's, I don't. I look at pictures and be like, I have no idea what's going on and who took this picture. Why would you do that? But most people, yes. They look at pictures, they can remember what was going on, what was happening. For me, that's music. Like if I play a beat from like when I was going through something, or like a certain amount, I can remember vividly emotions I was feeling, what I was thinking about when I made it. So like to me, it's connected to sound. But for most people, it is like they're very visual, and all types of emotions will flood back just from looking at a picture. So I who was it? I think I'm going to use another Myron Golden quote. He said Kodak thought that they were in the camera business. Right, but they were in the business of capturing memories.
Wow, yeah, it's very much true.
They would be a much, like now we got the Panasonic, Sony, like we got different camera companies, but they fully understand now we are in the business of capturing memories, right? Because everyone's got a good camera.
Yeah.
If you got a phone, you've got a fairly decent camera.
Sure do.
The only thing that makes it not really good is that it is automated, like, and it does things that wouldn't naturally happen in an eye. Yeah. Like the way your eye works for video and other things, but that's easily overcame as well. So like, you know, you've got a pretty powerful, you know what I'm saying, camera in your phone, in your hands at all times.
Yes.
So one thing that I do tell people all the time about their businesses is being competent and being able to do the skill is like, that's bare minimum.
Yes.
Like you can, I can take pictures. So can I.
Exactly.
Why do I want to give you money to take my picture? So that leads me to my next question. Like, what are some of the pushback you see, like as far as like photos, just in general, trying to lead generate and then turn that into a client? Mm-hmm. What are some of the things in tension that you see, and then what are some of the things you try to do to overcome those?
So originally I was what we like to call in the photography industry, shoot and burn photographer. And those are photographers who basically, they're professional photographers. They do your photos, but you're getting digital files. So we had moved, right? Like you mentioned the camera phone, it moved us. And basically that's what the camera phone did, right? It moved us into this digital file of our photographs. So I think that is a huge thing to try to overcome off bat. Because everyone, like you said, they're going to say to themselves, what do I need you for?
Right.
I could photograph this. Okay. But the thing is that most people, I won't say all, because some people print their photos out of their camera phones and stuff, but there's most people who don't. It just sits on their camera.
It just sits on your phone.
And our camera phones don't, you're right, our phones don't last forever. They actually eventually die and give out. And yes, we have cloud. Right now, we could save things to the cloud, but how many people are actually going into their cloud and
and making sure that we're getting a full backup, right? Or like you said, going back into the cloud and being like, let me go look these up. Yes. I mean, I see them sometimes, and I'm just like, can we delete these? Like, I'm not.
You sure can. Delete these, please. But that is one of the biggest. Biggest thing that I had to overcome. So I personally transitioned into actually giving framed prints and photo albums instead.
Got you.
Everyone still gets a digital file,
right?
But it's literally going to be a digital file. That means if you try to print it past 4:6, it's going to probably be over blurry. And
yeah.
So that's one thing that I just got rid of. You're not going to just get digital files, right?
Right.
Because I want you to use these. You basically invested this money in me.
Yeah.
To give you photos that you should cherish.
Right, and that you can keep. Exactly. Right? Take it from house to house, whatever you want. And a lot of people don't want a physical product. I get it.
Yes.
But I think if you do go take photos, at least leave it one. Especially a nice frame. I think the idea is good. I think there's a lot of people who will find value from it. I think you're going to have to have a very clear and concise message.
Yes.
So that those people who are searching for that type of experience are able to find you no problem.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Very much so.
Where is it? I can't remember the store, but it has a frame department in it.
Michael's.
Yes. And I always used to think how the fuck do they stay in business?
Yeah,
it's a craft store. Yeah. You know what I mean? But so I'm thinking you don't think these people want to make their own frames? You know what I mean? But that's how I'm thinking in my mind. But for whatever reason, right, framing a photo or something like that, because they sell shadow boxes, they sell you know what I mean? I'm just how do they stay in business? But framing things is a really big business.
Yes.
And it's a more person-to-person business. You know what I mean? People, if they bring it to you and they know that you know framing, you know what you're doing, they will continuously keep coming back to you hey, I got a poster, I got this, I got a family portrait that I want to get framed, because the frame really sets the picture off.
Yes.
And I didn't know that until I started to really get into art, not photos that way, but I was getting into art. And when you buy art, that's not the actual piece.
Exactly.
It's a roll up.
Yes.
And then you go and get it, framed most of the time, or it's 3 to 4 times more of the price than this frame. Yes. So it's no, roll out sheet. And then I get to pick the frame. Exactly. You know what I mean? So that goes with so framing is it's still a huge industry, but it's really person to person.
Yes.
If I find a framer, I'm staying with my framer.
And it's also a luxury, right? It is a luxury because the price, like you mentioned.
I think a lot of us, people who look like us, come into the industry and like we want our price lower.
Mm-hmm.
Like we want to make things affordable. We want to make sure we can help people. We want to, and I don't know if that's like a genuine, like we want to help people or we just don't believe people will buy things from us at a certain price. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's easier to come into the marketplace and really try to sell value by giving as much as you can up front for as little as possible. I think that's like a normal thing. But as you grow in business, you start to understand like your price attracts a certain kind of person.
Yes.
So can you expound on that? Tell me how that has affected your businesses and then choices that you make about like your products and services that you decide to offer.
So originally, I definitely did the whole price too low.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I will say that I was a beginner.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just really trying to get more volume to get more photos. So yes,
Got
the
you. Got
pricing at the
you.
beginning being low
Yeah.
benefited in that way to a certain extent. Because like you said, like people who look like us,
Right.
right? We do things like that, but then we also
I'm listening.
Oh.
You're and it's over. No, I'm.
I was like, hey, I don't know what's going on.
No.
But also the truth is, and now I will say I traveled across this country. So
Yeah.
blacks in different cities and states treat each other differently.
Very,
okay?
very,
And
very
there's some
differently.
states I've been in where it's like, wow, this is amazing. Okay? This is amazing.
Right.
But there's other states
Mm-hmm.
not so much. They want the low. They want the low, right? And unfortunately, it's not sustainable. So when we hear within the community like support black, buy
Mm-hmm.
black, I sometimes feel that it's not as genuine. It's almost like only buy black if amongst your fellow, right? Amongst your fellow black community, only buy black if
It's a
it's
discount.
a good deal.
Right. But I can agree with that. If it's a good deal, because that to me means the value proposition that's being stated is good enough for you, for whatever the amount of money that they're asking you for, right? If the deal is good, that's fine. What they're looking for is a discount. They want it to be over
Yes.
good. Like
Yes.
they want way more than what they're actually paying for.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And then it's like, that's unsustainable.
Exactly.
If I
So-
get you like that, you're gonna want to continue to expect that from me.
And
you
then
know?
you want to support,
Right.
but that's not supporting because we can't survive off of it. We can't live off of that.
No.
So I did price very, very low in the beginning. As time went on, I was uncomfortable pulling it up
Mm-hmm.
because one, skill development. You never feel that your skills develop. And
You're
this
right.
is just like kind of artist's way, maybe, of thinking. I
Right.
don't know about other industries. But you just never feel that it's good enough to charge more.
That amount of money, right?
But when I decided, like, look, I gotta, unfortunately, go outside of my community to even get people who want to spend the amount I need to become a full-time business, right? It opens up
Straight
a
up.
different
Straight up.
category. You never do exist. It's kind of like mind-blowing, right?
And people will happily,
Yes.
like, you're on the lower end, right? And you're like nickel and diamond, and then people are still leaving upset, feeling like they didn't get what they, paid for, versus you can 10x your prices, right? And now I'm bringing in clients that are happily giving me 10 times more of what I was asking for,
Yep.
right? And they're happy about it.
Yes.
And you can best believe I'm happy about it.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And not only does that allow me to get paid more for what I'm doing for you, right? It also allows me to spend more individual time with you.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
Because if I'm getting paid 10 times more, that's 9 other clients I don't got to take right now.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
And it's very
That's the
much
kind of
true.
freedom you
Yes.
have if you
And-
price higher.
And that's also what led me to want to price higher. Not only the fact that I want to do this full time, right?
Yeah.
But also the fact that I want to offer luxury photography services.
There you go.
I am big on client experience.
Why we got to be the bottom of the barrel?
Exactly.
Why we got to be the cheapest option?
Exactly.
If I told you and if I asked you, like, hey, would you like to be the McDonald's of the industry that you're going to be in? Most people would say no. right? And nothing wrong with McDonald's, but we want to be Ruth Chris. We want to, you know what I mean? You want to be fine dining. I don't want to be known as the McDonald's, but that's what most people price themselves as.
Yes.
The McDonald's of their industry. And then they wonder why they deal with McDonald's type customers.
Exactly. And like you said, there's nothing wrong with that, but that's where comes the power of.
But don't get mad at it.
Business do you want to run? Do you
Correct.
want volume-based business?
Volume, right?
Which is McDonald's. Or
exactly.
do you want exclusive-based business? That means
premium.
not too many people are going to come, but they're going to pay you enough.
Correct.
So.
Correct. And exponentially, or excellence scales, right, at a much slower rate than mediocrity. Yes. So as you increase your price, right, like you were saying, I want excellence, I want premium. There's just less competition. It's less people willing to be able to, one, even charge this price, and two, say that I can back it up, right? So now I've lowered my competition. There's less people fighting over these dollars, right? So that means it's easier for me to be able to attain these clients. Now, yeah, you got a $10,000 product, you should be able to give me 3 to 10 times back whatever I'm paying you for that. So that's on you. The onus is on you for that. But at the end of the day, I think a lot of what happens is we as entrepreneurs feel like, oh, I don't feel like I'm good enough to charge $10,000 or $1,000. So I'll charge what I feel is worth. You're not selling to yourself.
Exactly.
Like that, like it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. It's so true. And we get stuck like, wait, I'm not my own customer, right? Like, okay, maybe I won't need this, but somebody else will. And they find value in it.
And in some cases you are, like you could be a potential customer, but it's about like a little bit what we were talking about offline, right? It's the value proposition to the other person. How much is this worth to you?
Yes.
How much is it worth to you, right? And if you want to charge more, find people who either value whatever you do more or increase the value of what you have.
Exactly.
Right? Like that's the only way that it's going to work.
That's the only way. That's how business works. There's no other way business works.
Right? And then if you find that, okay, maybe the value proposition, right? Like what I'm asking for isn't enough, then you need to increase your size.
Yeah.
So your size. That doesn't mean go down. Oh, this is cheap. No, it's not cheaper. Increase what you're giving to your client.
Exactly.
Think on a higher level, like you were saying. Yes. I don't want to just give you a regular, I want to give you a premium experience.
Exactly.
I want to give you the luxury experience, right? How do I do that? I charge higher.
Exactly. That's how it goes. But it is hard.
Yeah.
Right? It is a hard thing because...
It takes a little bit of self-confidence.
It does, but also on the marketing side, it gets difficult because you're so used to...
marketing to a lower range of people, right? Yeah, no, exactly. We go for the numbers and then we, again, being uber focused on who your customer is.
Yeah.
If I have a $10,000 offer, I have a $1,000 offer. I'm not, look, no shade. There's just people I'm not going to be talking to.
Yeah.
There's going to be people who I'm not entertaining.
Exactly.
Which is people who don't have $1,000 discretionary income.
Yes.
Right? Like,
I mean, they wouldn't be looking for you either.
Does that make? But they do. You would never imagine how many people will come out, right? Because they do want what you have, right? They value, especially when there's a large dollar amount attached to something. If you go into a store and something's worth $10,000 or costs you $10,000 and something costs you $10, you're going to assume the thing that's $10,000 is like more well-built, has better stuff. You don't have to know nothing about it.
Yeah.
But because of the dollar amount attached to it, you just assume that it's a better product.
Yes.
Or that something in it cost more, right? Something associated with this is $10,000 worth of money, right? So like your price associates a certain thing about you to other people. So if I got a $10,000 offer, trust me, there's going to be a whole bunch of people that are like, yeah, please help me. I know I don't have the $10,000, but I really want that $10,000 value prop. No.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to entertain you.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you got here because I'm not talking to you. Like, you know what I mean? But
I don't know how you got here.
I'm hyper focused on speaking to my customer.
Yes.
Because I can't help the person that doesn't have $10,000. You know why? Because you can't buy my product.
And you know what? I will tell you, I learned the hard way.
Yeah.
I have learned the hard way, and it is not a good feeling when you feel that you are like working with somebody.
You've done all you can.
That because you are like, well, they want this. I want to help them.
Yep.
And you lower it down,
Yep.
right? You lower your value down,
Yep.
and maybe you don't even lower what you're offering,
Nope.
right? You lower that price.
That's usually what happens.
Eat it. You're gonna eat that, right?
Yep.
And the person is really
They're still
just
mad.
attitude,
They're still mad.
ungrateful. Why? But it's crazy because then when you sit back and think about it,
That was never your customer.
they weren't your customer, and two, they actually don't understand what the value you bring. And then
If they did, they would have paid your price.
Exactly.
And they would have had no problem paying your price.
Exactly.
I tell people when they're like, man, you're too expensive. I bet you the crackheads don't say that to the crack man. They pay whatever he's asking for, and they go find the money. Happily.
Or whatever it is he's asking for.
You know what I'm saying? Yes. I'm like, people will tell you your prices are too high, or they're too high for you because you don't want it that bad.
Yeah.
A crackhead want his crack.
Exactly.
And he will do whatever he needs to get what's necessary to get that crack on him.
Exactly.
So you need to like my product like crackheads like crack.
Yes. And if you don't, that's okay.
That's perfectly fine. Please go somewhere else. I would love to talk to someone who does.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And then if a lot of people would be like, oh, you're mean and all you care about is the money. No, it's not. The people who are interested, I can help.
Exactly.
And the people who aren't interested, I can't help. So why would I keep wasting your and my time?
Yes. And you know what's crazy too? In business, especially when you're a solo entrepreneur, you only have so much bandwidth. And I don't think people understand that sometimes. And when you're a service...
Like there's 24 hours in a day, yes. 7 days in a week.
It's you more when you're a service-based business.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Product, right?
Yeah.
But people that, honestly, they're not into business, so they don't know these things.
Correct.
But the reality is, because they don't know that, sometimes
that
becomes the problem for them coming to us and thinking we're being mean or trying to appease a certain group of people and stuff like that. Well, I'm service-based. So I only have so much time, and I want to provide a certain caliber of service. Like, there is no minimal on this. And because of that, I have to give more time to the people that can't afford it.
And that's my thing, right? The thing that I had to tell myself was every time I land, like let's say I have physical space, right? So if I give this opportunity to somebody who doesn't deserve it, that means I'm not able to give it to somebody who does, right? Because they're occupying space.
Exactly.
And not only does that cost me money, time, energy, it costs them money, time, and energy, and then it costs somebody else an opportunity.
Yes.
So I'm hyper vigilant on making sure that I'm talking to the right people at the right time about the right things, because otherwise the person who should be getting it isn't.
Exactly.
And if you think about it that way, it's like, nope, missed opportunities. I don't feel like I'm being mean, angry, or anything like rude. It's just I'm hyper-focused on my goals, right? And I'm hyper-focused on making sure that I get the things that I want in my life because, let's just be real about it, nobody cares about you more than you do. Exactly. And if you're hoping that somebody does, right, you're already playing a losing game. Yes. So I mean, condolences, and I'm happy for you or sad for you, whatever it is that you want me to be, but I'm still going to be me when I wake up tomorrow. And the next day after that, so I'm going to be after mine.
Exactly. Yeah, people don't, and it's unfortunate sometimes, but then other times you're just like, you know, you got to, if you want to be an entrepreneur, you got to understand that, right? You have to, and I will say, I think that's experience of knowing, trying to figure out who your audience is, what you're trying to do. Everyone I think goes through this.
You have to.
Like, you can't avoid it.
What do they call that? Like, I paid my dues. Like, every time I go through one of these kind of situations, that's what I think to my, like, okay, these are what they were talking about when they're talking about paying. Because there's things that you, like, know, somebody's told you, maybe you've been exposed to or whatever, but until it happens to you and you make that, okay, that's right. Yeah. I'm not going to do that no more. That's the paying your dues, right?
And
there's knowing and doing.
It helps you also hyper-focus your attention,
exactly.
Right? Because there was it was a horrible situation that I've been in, but it helped me realize, hey, I don't want to do that.
Right.
That's not what I'm trying to do. Because just as much as you're trying to do for others with your business, you're also doing for yourself simultaneously. So when you are picky about who you're working with, and trust and believe, sometimes we have to do free things, right? To get what we're trying to do out there.
Yeah.
But that's the only way that it will work, where you're feeling like, okay, I'm taking people who are going to benefit, but also I'm going to benefit because now it's pulling together the business I want.
Right.
And then people will see, like, in my instance, I'm a photographer. So the more I work with people that want to be photographed in the way I want to photograph,
right,
then my portfolio is building while they also get their awesome images.
Right. It's a win-win.
Exactly. But I don't think some people realize that, and I don't think I realized that in the beginning either. Like,
that people just don't want to give you money.
Right. Like,
like no, that like we would be like for whatever reason, I think we just like no. As long as the product's good, people are gonna just like throw their money at me. It's like
that's not how it works. Nope. Because you have to show them, and I took a while to hit me, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, dang, why won't people? I'm offering this, and then I realized, oh my God, I'm not showing them. It's great that
you're not clearly articulating your vision to them,
and they don't see me doing it. So because of that, oh great, I have to. So this year, that's what I'm focusing on. So last year was all about like, okay, let me find my style. Like, what do I
right.
And then this year is all about now. Let me pull it together, right? In order for me to pull it together, I have to be very
visible.
Very.
It happened to me today. It's okay.
Thank you. Very much so. I'm doing behind the scenes this year for a change.
Yeah.
I'm a very private person naturally, so.
But you are the brand. You are the brand. People buy from people.
Exactly, and I was like, I mean, that's what.
I mean, you can
say yes here.
That's what got me here. I need to be because I'm the same kind of I don't like. I mean, I like talking to people, but I'm just not like a big internet person and like marketing and branding. And I'm trying to get out of saying that because I want $1 billion. So I need to be able to be a marketing person and a branding person. So instead of like sitting on my laurels, like, I'm just not good at it, I'll hire somebody. No, like I'm just going to do it until I get really good at it. And I don't have to do it forever, but at least it's a skill I'll have and I can do it for other people or do it for myself. But I really want to practice what I preach. And I don't believe that anybody can't do anything. Like, whatever you say you can do, and whatever you say you can't do, you can.
Yes.
So if you say you can't do branding, then yeah, you're right.
You're right, yeah.
But if you say you can, then figure out actionable things you can do to get better at it and start doing that consistently and, you'll be better at it.
Exactly. Amazing how that works. I don't know why it takes us a while to register it.
We want to make it hard. It's not.
It just is what it is.
It's not. It makes us feel better when we think, it's complicated.
Yeah.
It's not.
Then we should just like keep pushing it to the side.
I don't want to do that over. No, exactly.
Marketing, for the longest, I was that. I was saying that to myself. Like, oh, I'm not good at marketing. I would say it to everyone else.
That's not me.
Yeah, like, I suck. But then the reality was, the reason I wasn't good at marketing was because I don't actually know who my customer is.
I don't know who my customer is.
That actually, I personally believe, I never went to school for marketing, so maybe the marketers could vouch or not. But I personally believe when you really do focus on who that customer is, like, where they hang out, like literally what probably they're thinking.
What books they read, what TV shows.
Sentences, pretty much, right? Like, you have to know their personality.
Somebody did some self-growth. She was sitting in some marketing classes.
YouTube University.
Hey.
Don't sleep on it.
At all.
Yeah, you could pick, honestly, when I listen to a lot of those, I pick and choose what's relevant to me.
What speaks to you.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what I love about YouTube is like, there's a lot of good info, there's a lot of bad info, but you really can keep searching around until you find somebody that resonates with you, right? Like, okay, he speaks my language. Yeah. Like, I've heard this information before, but it's never been said to me like this, to where it's really, and that's what I like. And it's free, right? You can keep doing that until you find somebody you like. And then if you do want to go deeper into their services, you can do that now. Now, at least I know the way he talks on a consistent basis is a way that I can understand.
Exactly. I do want to say, though, when it comes to your ideal customer and all that jazz, like, I think the easiest way to find out, I know people will say, like, come up with somebody and all that, but honestly, I think the easiest way, at least for maybe artists or people who do service-based businesses, is to get out there and do all that trial and error, because that I think is the fastest way. Instead of, you don't have to actually make someone up before you do that work, right? You could do the work and then start pulling them together. And I think a lot of times when I'm listening to those marketing things, that's what it sounds like to me. They're saying is, oh, let's go ahead and just make someone up, what you think your person is. And I just feel they leave out that vital part of, well, you will know who they are as you get out there and work with more people.
Yeah.
It's just easy that way, right?
Yeah.
That's how I figured out mine, because for the longest, I would be stumped.
Yeah, chicken or egg kind of thing, right? Like, do you go out and do the work and figure out what the market is and then kind of make your customer off of that? Or do you imagine who your customer is and then go try to find that person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think one's a lot easier than the other. For sure.
Yes, true.
For sure. I'm definitely I'm finna go out here and figure it out type dude.
Yes.
And then 6 years down the line be like, yeah, no, I got it. Yeah. And not be having it.
It's always changing. You'll learn more and
Everything
more things.
changes.
That's the best part.
I think that's the great thing about just business life in general. Everything is changing. Mm-hmm. And it's only really difficult when you try to fight it.
Yes.
Like, just go with the change, continue to grow, continue to try, continue to move in the right direction. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, I wholeheartedly agree. Like, knowing who your customer is if you can get to that base level of understanding of your customer, like what status change do they effectively want to see in their life?
Yeah.
Billions.
Yeah.
Because they will throw their money at
exactly. And that's probably the hardest part is making sure you word it in a way, right? Because that's not my strong suit, right? But there's people who
communication,
great with
right?
Their words, right?
Right.
More straightforward, just straight.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I can't. I shouldn't say I can't, because I probably can if I really dedicated
my
time.
That's not necessarily in your wheelhouse, yes. Right? Yeah, I could definitely teach myself the skill, but that's not how my brain works.
Yes. So it's like, naturally, I'm just going to tell you what it is. I'm not going to add in the nice little adjectives or the fluff and stuff like that, but hey, that's where the team building comes in, right? When you're able to get people.
That's when you get you a salesperson. That's when you get you a communicator. That's when you know what I mean? Yeah. And I think it's important to understand what your core competency is so that you can delegate, right? Like, I am not a salesperson, right? So then, go get somebody who really loves selling because you can outsource, right, your irritation, right? I've done it and I know I don't like it. So I can tell you, right, these are the people that I want. These are the products that I have. And these are the kind of people I want you to talk to. Yeah. I did it once, and now I'm going to outsource that irritation, so now it's making me money.
Exactly.
Might cost you a little bit because you want to outsource it, but it's still going to make you money, right? As long as you are a business person and not running a charity, right? Yeah. You should be paying that person less than what they generate.
Like, or they should generate
more money than it takes for them to be there. Or guess what, buddy? You're not going to be here anymore. Exactly. You know what I mean? Like a part of my house that doesn't work anymore, I'm going to replace it. Yeah. So, but we don't think about, our businesses in that aspect in that kind of way where we kind of just think either we got to be a jack of all trades or we're just not going to do it. And I'm like, no, like if you don't like something and it irritates you or whatever the case may be, outsource it. It's cool. Yep. Like did you sign up to be a fucking marketer? Right. No, you signed up to be a CEO of your business, right? Like,
now, disclaimer, right? You only do that when you have that revenue that you could push towards that. So like me, I'm not a social media person, but you need money to pay somebody. So for sure. You gotta wait.
But be able to negotiate, create. This is what I'm saying. A lot of us are like not able to do things because we simply will not ask. You know what I mean? Like you asked me how long it takes to edit, right? Mm-hmm. I was editing like 2 to 3 nights a week for like 8 hours, right? And I would get like maybe 2 videos done because they were long videos for the podcast. And something told me, like I kept seeing this ad for Opus Clips. And I'm like, AI. But I'm like, no, I gotta know how to do it. I wanna do it. So I did that for like 2-3 weeks. And something was like, just try it out. So I took a video, I dropped it in, and like, I was so angry. It took 16 minutes to do like 3 days of work.
Wow.
16 minutes for it to do 3 days of work for me.
Oh, that's
right?
Awesome.
And it was free. It didn't even cost me anything, right? They gave me like an hour for free, but it was just my inability to get over my own ego to say somebody else could do this. That's true. That likes this, knows what they're doing, and honestly is probably looking for the same thing I'm looking for, which is ease, comfort, and I'm trying to build something, right? So, but because in my mind, I don't have enough money. Some people don't want money. Some people want experience. Some people need a portfolio.
That's true.
But again, limiting beliefs, what I tell myself is true. Yeah, if nobody will pay for it, I won't ask anybody.
Yeah. You know in photography, very quickly, I shouldn't say very quickly. Some people don't learn, but if you are a photographer, it's always best to get a team. Other people that could do makeup and hair and stuff 100%. Like that, right? But
Because you guys are all looking for clients.
exactly. Now, granted, I will say that some people they might not say yes to doing things for free because maybe to them they already have their
They're already
portfolio
there.
built, they already
Right.
got wherever they're trying to go. But there are people, like I actually asked a good number of makeup artists.
Yeah.
I got a lot of no's.
Yeah, I
I
bet.
got a yes
I
eventually.
bet. Right.
You know, and it happened to be somebody that I didn't initially, right? Was like, oh, let me initially ask.
Yeah.
But eventually, you find somebody who's
Mm-hmm.
gonna just take a lot of notes. But yes, you are absolutely right. Like you don't have to always pay someone. You just need to find the people.
Find the right people. And the sooner you find them, to be honest, the easier I was telling my wife, I said 100 pounds is really hard to pick up unless there's 10 people. Right?
Yeah.
So like share the burden, we keep telling each other that this is a hard lift, man.
Yeah.
When are you gonna do something about it? Right? Like, do you think you're just gonna get stronger? Which is gonna happen. Yeah.
Eventually.
But what if you were getting stronger while the other 8 members of your team were getting stronger? Now, I'm significantly lowering the weight of this, but what comes with that is relationships, problems, issues, dealing with other people. And that's where we're like, nope, not worth it. And I'm like, no, the actual struggle of trying to do all this by myself far outweighs anything that anybody else can bring into my life as long as they are producing.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
And the alignment, okay? Because we can't ignore
the alignment. That's what I mean by the production, right? Like my alignment is we're trying to get to this goal, right? Which requires you to produce. And if you're not producing, then you are not aligned with my goals. You can go somewhere else.
Yeah. We just ain't there.
This got us.
We're not trying to both build the same way.
No,
you know?
no, we don't have the
that's
same.
fine
And
too.
whatever it is, urgency, capacity, ability, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've been through those times in my life where life kind of sucked and I retreated backwards. I'm not there anymore. So when I see certain things in people that I've either gone past, I've gone over, or I'm not there at my level, I don't judge you, but I don't have the time nor the capacity to help you get over those things because that's not what I asked for. I didn't ask to help every individual person I meet along the way to get over their demons.
Yeah.
That's not what I asked God for. So, you know what I mean? But a lot of us feel bad or whatever the case may be because we start taking personal responsibility for choices other people made. Like, that's your life, man.
Yeah.
Like,
It's true.
that's your life. I didn't do it. Like, he was like this before I got here.
Like, I could only do so much, right? Like, those people, you could always see if they are trying to build something.
Right.
Right? And then, like, oh, cool. Well, I'm looking for this.
I just hope time changes. Like, come back a different person.
Oh, my gosh. Well, there's that, too. But sometimes, especially in the
I wasn't
beginning,
always
when you
this
try to
Robert.
be nice,
Yeah.
Right? But then, life happens, and then you're just like, oh, no, I'm not going to do this again because you got screwed over the last time. Nobody wants to keep getting screwed, right? At the end of the day, we're just like, no, thank you.
And I always think back to myself where I'm like, you knew before this happened. You told yourself it wouldn't, or you had hope that, oh, no, but you knew this was going to happen.
Yeah.
And you can't be mad at this other person because they did exactly what you knew they were going to do. You should have just not did it in the first place.
Yeah, that's true.
Because nothing that happens to me in my life is anybody else's fault.
Right. It's all our
And if you
choices.
think that way, you take more responsibility over your life.
Mm-hmm.
And you stop caring a lot about what other people think.
That's
Because
very
it
true.
doesn't.
Yeah. Very true.
Unless your opinion generates me a paycheck, it does not. Like, it's very unlikely that I'm going to care.
Unless you are like the head of a certain department that I overrun.
See, that generates me a
then
paycheck.
That's gonna
See what I'm saying?
generate, right?
Generates
So,
me a paycheck.
unless
Sounds
you're
like I might care. Yeah, no, I don't. In general, I want to. Let's see. I want to wrap it up. Let me see where we're gonna go. I like my conclusion questions.
Okay.
I usually start with my intro. That sucks, but my outros are good.
Your intro's not that bad.
A1. No. Yeah. I ask everybody that comes on. I would like to have a lot of entrepreneurs that watch my show. You gotta have that vision.
Yeah.
I say there's a lot of entrepreneurs. That's because I believe in you.
They're out there.
They are. They're budding new. We're here. They're coming for me.
Mm-hmm.
Advice, tips, anything that you think is important that they should know on their journey to becoming an entrepreneur?
Wow. So many, right? Which one
So
is the one you
numerous.
want to give?
Yeah. I'll give you a
I
top three if you got so many.
I
Like,
do have a lot. Actually, I'm not gonna lie. You know, you learn at every.
she's
I,
like, top 10 maybe? Man.
so I will say that as an entrepreneur, it's understanding that you're always learning. Hell, as a business person, you're always learning.
Learn to love.
There's never gonna be a point where I think you're gonna feel this sense of, oh, I made it there, because you're always gonna want more, and that's okay, and that is normal.
Living on the edge.
Yes. I think also understanding that whole overall vision of what you want to do as an entrepreneur.
Right.
And
beyond the money, like not just I want to be rich, like
yes,
really what
like
are you trying to do?
the
Yeah,
purpose,
what's your
why
why?
you're building this? Yes.
Yeah.
That is what's going to ultimately help dictate how you move and make decisions.
Right.
And the moment you veer off of that, you're going to make decisions that don't align with your goal. And it might take some time to realize that happened to me.
Yeah.
But
like evaluate and be like, ooh.
Yeah, like I wasn't trying to go that way. I was trying to go that way.
Excuse
but
me.
You realize that you didn't set yourself up appropriately.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I think as an entrepreneur, and honestly in life in general, as long as you know where you're headed, always remember where you're headed, because that is what's going to dictate.
If you know where you're headed, you can restructure and realign.
And you're going to put yourself in those right situations to better that vision, to make that vision come real.
Yeah. And try to navigate to that place, right? If you know where you're going, you can always take a step and say, hey, where am I at right now?
Exactly.
And I can re-course correct, right? If I know where I'm going, right? Versus, I'm just out here kind of wandering.
Yeah. Or put yourself in the right rooms.
Right.
Or reach out to the right people who has maybe skills or has something that will help you develop a skill. Yes. That's very, very important, I think.
Knowing your why is important. Like if you don't know your why, you can't really know your customer. So I think that might be like predicated. Like, why do I want to do this? Once you have the why, then it's like, okay, well, who does that why help?
Yeah.
Right? Who would be served the best by what I'm trying to do?
Yeah.
And then through that, you would find who your customer is.
Yeah.
Like, if this is the person that this would help the most, now let me figure out how I can enhance this for this specific person.
How do I enhance myself as an entrepreneur to help this person?
Right.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. 100%. I agree. You got to kind of start from that why, which is kind of a lot of people think is backwards. They think about, oh, well, let me think about the customer first, what they want, how they need it. But there's a lot of things out there that you could do.
Yeah.
Why do you do this one? Because that's why people are going to either buy from you or buy from somebody else. You've got options out here.
And as a beginning entrepreneur, right? You're not gonna have customers rolling in. So when they're not rolling in yet, what do you do to help make them want to start rolling in?
And how do you sustain that? Like, how do you sustain that understanding of what you want to do, how you want to do it, and where you're going, even when the reality that you're living in doesn't reflect that vision that you have, right? I can focus more on that's what I'm working for, even though this is what's happening right now. No, 100%. I like it. Any other tips? You said 1 through 3. That was 1.
I'm gonna leave it there.
She said you get 2 and 3 if you come by her website and you get some services. She'll drop 2 and 3 on you.
You could always ask me questions. I think that I have done all kinds of random things that help me narrow things down. Like, I could probably help find like entrepreneurs, right? It's big to save as much money as you can. So in the beginning, which I didn't know that other entrepreneurs weren't doing, but in the beginning, I would find free plans of things. So the free websites, right?
Yep.
Like if I need a website, Canva, right? You could do social media graphics on it and stuff. It's like I was finding that before. I guess I didn't realize other people weren't really finding it. But I will say that I guess could also be a really big tip, right? Like you don't always have to pay like the best program, put money towards the best program for whatever your industry is.
Right.
That there are the free options.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, it feels maybe like, ugh, I don't want the free option, right? Because it just feels like people might know, but trust me, people don't know.
Nope.
Like they do not know.
Nope.
And it saves you money. It helps you focus more on your business, what you're trying to do, right? So like you don't have to worry about a website. You find a free website. I use Square. That's what I use, not Squarespace, just the Square.
Right.
I think it's very important not to get hung up on
LLC, S corp, all that other stuff.
I just don't think it is. As a beginning, now
I agree.
Now I will disclaim
Agreed.
that depending on your industry. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I'm only speaking more for like artistry type of work, right? Because it's
1000%.
because I don't know all the intricacies of all the other industries. But from a photographer standpoint, you need to know your state, how they run. Now, California, I know LLC as a starting entrepreneur, I wouldn't do, because off the bat I know I have to pay $800 that next tax year, whether or not I make money. Okay, that's not fun. But some people, they're okay with that, and also depending on your business, you might have to do that. But if you don't, just doing the sole proprietor, because you technically don't have you probably have a least likelihood of someone suing you at the end of the day. But, you know, obviously you could get insurance, right? Liability insurance and things like that.
I mean, the goal is for no one to sue you in the first place.
Yes.
Exactly.
As a beginning entrepreneur, very, very least likelihood, right? But in other states, that's not the case, right?
Yeah,
some
you
get an LLC where they won't charge you if you don't make no money.
Right.
Okay?
There's not a minimum required tax.
Exactly.
Like California has.
Exactly.
Which is why you see a lot of places like incorporated in Delaware. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They just go and find a place that's more tax friendly.
Yes.
Shall we say?
Small business owner friendly.
Right.
Yeah.
More business friendly. Yeah, no. Actually, usually when it comes to sole proprietorships, I'm like, no, you're a retard. But I actually agree with what you're saying. I think exactly as a startup, especially for artists,
yes.
right? Because usually you're gonna be going by your own name anyway. Like you might have a street name or an artist name or a moniker, right? But you can always get a DBA for that.
Yes.
Right? So you can get a sole proprietorship underneath your own name so that you can at least start calculating your income. Because what's important is how much money you're making. If you haven't made past a certain threshold, then no, you shouldn't be having an LLC because it's not you're just losing money now. You're paying to have an LLC.
Exactly.
But if you've passed a certain threshold, which is going to depend upon your state, but I would say anywhere to be between like you're netting, not gross. You are netting $5,000 to $10,000 in a year, right? If you're netting $5,000 to $10,000 a year, get you an LLC, set your $800 aside, right?
Yeah.
Get a plan, get a savings, and put your money aside, and then make sure that you are accounting for everything that you make and then everything that you spend. Because LLCs only have to pay for what they made as far as profit, not for what they made overall.
Right.
So if you're making $10,000, you should be using your money properly, right? To either pay yourself, whatever. And then you don't even want to pay that $800. But you can count that $10,000 towards credit, towards additional income, towards good business history, right? That has an EIN that serves as it's social. Now it's building credit. So you want to get on that journey as quickly as possible because it takes time. Like, I don't care if you've been a sole prop doing this for 10 years. The moment you start that LLC, that's a separate entity and doesn't give a shit about that 10 years you've been doing this business.
Exactly.
And neither do the banks, neither do the credit card companies. So I wouldn't necessarily tell you to do, 10 years of a sole prop. Like, quit, bro. Like,
as soon as you can,
just quit. Like, if you haven't gotten to the stage where you can graduate to an LLC, quit, go do something else. And that's not me being mean. You're wasting your time.
Yeah.
You are literally wasting your time, right? That's a side hustle for you. Go ahead, just keep doing it underneath the radar, whatever. Because if it's not over a certain threshold, you don't have to report it.
No, you don't.
So you're wasting your time. Yeah. But if you've gotten to that level where I'm making $5,000, $10,000, in a year, and that's a pretty low threshold. Like it's like $2,000 a month, right? That you're profiting.
Right.
Seems like a lot for newer entrepreneurs, but that's honestly doable, right? if you've gotten to that stage, right, having an LLC does way more for you,
Yes,
right,
yes.
than a sole
Sole
prop
proprietor.
does, right? Just because it gives you that access to honest and true business services
Yes.
versus you being liable as an individual. But no, 100%,
Yes.
right? Like,
And always talk to your tax accountant and all that. Just,
get you and even if you don't have one like that you're paying, like, if you know somebody or like get on Facebook and find somebody.
Yeah,
Like,
they're out there.
if there's one thing that is super important, it's going to be like taxes
Yeah.
and understanding how money works. If I
Yes.
drop you off in freaking Mexico and you don't know Spanish, it's going to be hard for you to like succeed.
Exactly.
I'm not saying it's impossible. It's going to be difficult. So it's the same thing with money. If you don't understand the language that money speaks, it's going to be hard for you to communicate and win the game of life because
Yeah.
money's important.
Exactly.
And it talks a lot.
Very, very important.
Yeah.
Especially as artists, they're focused on their artistry and not so much the business side.
Yeah,
of it. So
yeah,
just understanding the business side, do all the research you can on how business operate.
Yeah.
Is so important. There's still so much that I don't know that I know I don't know.
That you don't know.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's important of why you need a mentor, right? Mentorship is like wisdom without the bruises. Right? Like I didn't have to fall down and see that this hurt to figure out, okay, yeah, it shouldn't go that way. I had somebody be like, yeah, no, there's like down there, go this way. You know what I mean? Like, like no, I still understand what's going on. I just didn't have to go and get hurt. You know what I mean? So I think it's important to have a mentor. I think it's important to have somebody who has attained a level of what you desire so that you can start to model your behavior after that person. Because the biggest thing that I found, it's not big stuff. Like most people got the big stuff down. It's the tiny little details that they're lacking that's really keeping them from that next level, right? Like you got here because you got the big stuff, but really what's keeping you from breaking through to that, maybe if it was a $1,000 a year or a month or $100 a month or $50 a month, what's keeping you from breaking through to that next level is your systems. Yeah. The tiny little things that you're not doing that makes this a repeatable process. Right?
Oh, man, we could talk about systems all day. That is my forte. I love systems.
Which you can get bogged down into your systems, but realistically, they are the things that help you to generate money on a regular basis. Yeah. Right? You can a broken clock is right twice a day. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So you can accidentally sell something to someone or accidentally, find the right person. But how do you do that on purpose? Yeah. How do I do that intentionally?
And getting that system set also helps when you do hire someone else to do it because you could tell them how it needs to be done.
Correct. Not how you think it should be or the high level stuff, right? You can give them a full detailed run out on, hey, this is what I expect from A to Z. Yep. Right. Well, it's been a pleasure. I ask that you guys, if you made it this far, right, go ahead and like, subscribe, leave a comment down below on what you want to see. Definitely go check out Damon A. Let them know where they can find you. Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff.
Yep, you can find me on Instagram, only social. Nope, I lied. Instagram and Pinterest.
She said, and I take it back.
I do take it back. Instagram and Pinterest, I am Framed Features. It's FRAMEDFEATURES.
And for the illiterates, it'll be in the link in the bio.
Yeah, there too. But IG is 2 S's. I know I had to. Someone already had it with 1 S, 2 S's at the end.
We're going to find you. Yeah. We're going to get your login info.
And then, of course, my website. If you want to book me, you want to check out my photography, that's just framefeatures.com.
Frame Features. Framed Features.com.
Yeah. But hey, it eventually might change to my name because
you are the brand.
I am the brand.
I tell everybody that every day. Mm-hmm. You are the brand. People buy from people, exactly. not from things. Yeah. I mean, I've bought some stuff from things before.
We all have. I like Target, so. That's
man, if I don't have to talk to a person, like I honestly don't like industries where they're like, no, you really do have to talk to somebody, and I'm like, I don't think I need it that much.
That's funny coming from you. I would have thought.
No, because right,
That's
every
how
industry that I'm in, I have like that's what it is. Like
Yeah.
insurance, healthcare, like all of it. Like you need a person to walk you through it. Which
Yeah.
I'm like, how did I end up here?
You're a talker, man. Deep down inside. Like, I like people. I've been developing that skill, so I've gotten better.
Yeah,
at
no, yeah. I had to learn how to like people.
it. You know what? I like people.
But when you know it's coming.
I like people.
But
sometimes they're disappointing.
yeah. But I had to learn that disappointment is about me, is about my expectations, not the people.
You know what? That is 100% true.
Yeah.
But I think I get more disappointed just when people are rude. I think
Yeah.
that's where my disappointment's usually. Because, yes, I know everybody's who they are.
You're going to be who you are, bro. And I had to learn. I was like, no, it's just disappointing because I'm here. I wouldn't even know you existed if I wasn't here. So I just removed myself.
Don't start changing my mind. Where I'm now starting to go and talk to people. Talk me out of it.
It's freeing, man. I'm trying to tell you. It's like a switch flips in your mind, and it's like, why do I give so much of a shit if nobody gives a shit?
Yeah, I mean, that's where I came from. That's where my mind was. And then I was
Like
like,
I care deeply about the people who care, like my family, the
Yeah.
people who I care about. But I'm intentional about that. If I truly care about you, then yeah, like you would know that through my actions, not because you saw me on a fucking podcast.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
and if you're the kind of person that wants to make a quick judgment on me because of a video you saw or something, like I don't care anyway.
Yeah.
Like
It's inevitable. Hey.
that's on me if I'm like letting that weigh on me or because that person doesn't, and that's what I mean by like, why do I care so much if that person doesn't care?
Yeah.
I'm sitting in my bed, not thinking about it, ruminating, not spending time with whoever I could be spending time with that I love and living in the moment. I'm thinking about something that doesn't matter about somebody who doesn't matter.
Exactly. Everyone has an opinion, so
I'm not that
I don't
dumb.
gotta bother with it.
It does not bother
It's so
me.
much peaceful without it.
And
Without bothering
that's
with
it. It's the peace.
Yeah.
Because I've been on the other side. It's not fun.
No.
It's not fun. It'll get you a check though. It'll get you a check, but it's not fun.
No.
No. Well, okay, yeah. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for coming. This is Hype Review. Damon A. Dope for life. Peace out.